The lights of the New York studio of What Now with Trevor Noah glared brighter than usual that night. Cameras rolled, the audience clapped wildly, and the producers whispered nervously into their headsets. This was not just any episode, Prince Harry was the special guest. Harry had been on countless talk shows before, but this one felt different. His memoir had stirred global controversy, the rift with the royal family remained unresolved, and his critics were louder than ever. He walked onto the stage with a confident smile, yet inside, he felt the tension building like a storm. "Ladies and gentlemen," Trevor Noah announced with his trademark grin, "please welcome Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex." The crowd erupted in applause as Harry shook Trevor's hand and sat down. For the first 10 minutes, the interview seemed smooth. Trevor joked about Harry's life in California, teased him about his polo matches, and even touched briefly on the Netflix documentaries. But then, the conversation took a sharper turn. "So Harry," Trevor leaned forward, "many people admire your courage for stepping away from the royal family. But others believe you've been cashing in on your pain, turning private matters into public profit. What do you say to them?" The audience fell silent. Harry's smile faded. "I didn't leave to make money," Harry replied firmly. "I left to protect my wife and children. The pressure, the lies, the constant intrusion, none of you can imagine what it feels like. And the institution didn't protect us." Trevor nodded but pressed further. "But isn't it fair to say, you've chosen to stay in the spotlight? The interviews, the books, the deals, you've become as public as ever. Some might call it hypocrisy." Harry's jaw tightened. He could feel the sting. "Hypocrisy," he shot back. "Telling the truth isn't hypocrisy. For years, I was silenced. Now, I have my own voice. And if people can't handle the truth about the royal family, that's their problem, not mine." The audience gasped. A few clapped nervously. Trevor raised an eyebrow. "But Harry," Trevor said carefully, "don't you think constantly blaming the monarchy starts to look like obsession? At some point, do you take responsibility for the choices you've made since leaving?" That was it. Harry leaned forward, his voice rising. "Responsibility. Do you know what responsibility looks like, Trevor? It's watching your mother die because the press hunted her. It's begging your father for help while your wife is being destroyed in the media and hearing nothing. Don't you dare lecture me on responsibility when you haven't lived a day in my shoes." The crowd froze. A heavy silence filled the studio. Trevor shifted in his chair, clearly caught off guard, but his pride wouldn't let him back down. "With respect, Harry," Trevor said slowly, "you're not the only one who's lost someone. You're not the only one who's been targeted by the press. Millions of people struggle without the privileges you still enjoy. Maybe humility should be part of the conversation too." The two men locked eyes. The producers frantically waved their arms, trying to signal Trevor to move to a lighter subject. But it was too late. Harry's face flushed with anger. He took off his microphone and slammed it onto the desk. "You know what? I don't need this," Harry snapped, standing up. "If this is your idea of an interview, then I'm done." Gasps erupted across the studio as Harry stormed off stage. The audience erupted into chaos, some booing, some cheering, some simply stunned. Trevor sat in stunned silence for a moment, then turned to the camera with a forced smile. "Well, that just happened," he said dryly. The show cut abruptly to commercials. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled. Security escorted Harry through the backstage corridors, while his team shouted angrily at staff. Within minutes, tabloids and social media lit up with breaking news. Prince Harry kicked off What Now after explosive clash with Trevor Noah. The commercial break could not hide the storm that had just erupted. Within minutes, clips of Prince Harry ripping off his microphone and storming out began circulating on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Hashtags like #Harry vs Trevor, #WhatNowMeltdown, and #Royal Drama shot to the top of global trends. Some users defended Harry. Greater than, Trevor was way out of line. You don't invite someone on your show just to humiliate them. Harry spoke his truth. Others mocked him. Greater than, Prince Harry plays victim again. If he hates publicity so much, why does he keep running to TV shows? By the time the show returned from its commercial break, Trevor Noah had already decided to address what happened. Looking directly into the camera, he said calmly, "Ladies and gentlemen, what you just witnessed was real. Prince Harry chose to walk out after a disagreement. I respect his experiences, but I also believe that when you come on this show, we ask tough questions. That's journalism. It's not personal, it's conversation. And sometimes, conversation gets uncomfortable. The audience applauded nervously, sensing history being made live on television. Backstage chaos. Meanwhile, Harry's team was in panic. His publicist argued with the producers. Meghan, watching from California, called frantically. Harry sat in the dressing room, pacing like a lion trapped in a cage. "This was a setup," he muttered. "They wanted to humiliate me. They invited me for ratings, not for honesty." His aide replied cautiously, "But walking out like that, it makes you look like what?" Harry snapped. "Like someone who won't tolerate lies." "Good. Let them see it." Royal family reacts. Across the Atlantic, inside Buckingham Palace, the news spread like wildfire. Senior aides briefed King Charles immediately. "Your Majesty," one advisor said gravely, "Prince Harry has just walked out of a live interview with Trevor Noah. It's all over the internet." Charles sighed deeply, pressing his temples. "For God's sake, he doesn't know when to stop." Camilla frowned. "At least this time, it wasn't about us directly." But William, upon hearing the news, reportedly told close friends, "This is exactly why we can't reconcile. He doesn't just burn bridges, he explodes them on television." Trevor Noah speaks out. The next morning, Trevor appeared on Good Morning America to defend himself. "I didn't attack Harry," Trevor insisted. "I asked him what millions of people are asking: why does he criticize the institution yet continue to profit from its spotlight? That's not cruelty, that's accountability. If tough questions make him walk out, that's his choice, not mine." The interview went viral again, with commentators split between those praising Trevor for holding Harry accountable and those accusing him of exploiting trauma for entertainment. Harry's response. 2 days later, Harry finally broke his silence. In a carefully crafted video message released on his social media, he appeared calm, but his voice carried unmistakable fire. "I walked out because I refused to be part of another cycle of manipulation. I have spoken my truth, and I will continue to speak it. My family deserves peace, not mockery. If some cannot understand that, I wish them well, but I will not be silenced again." The video was viewed over 50 million times in 24 hours. The fallout. Netflix executives grew nervous, fearing the controversy might hurt ongoing projects. Talk shows debated endlessly: was Harry right to walk out, or was Trevor right to push him? Comedians turned the moment into jokes, with memes of Harry storming off becoming late-night punchlines. But the real impact was personal. Friends close to Harry revealed he felt betrayed. He thought Trevor Noah would understand him, one insider told reporters. Instead, he felt ambushed. The uncertain future. By the end of the week, Trevor Noah's ratings had skyrocketed, while Harry's reputation faced yet another storm. Some said he had proven his critics right, that he couldn't handle criticism. Others argued it showed his raw humanity, a man tired of being cornered. One thing was clear: the clash between a duke and a comedian had ignited a global debate about trauma, truth, and the price of fame. And as Harry looked out from the balcony of his California home, staring into the Pacific horizon, he whispered quietly to himself, "Mom, I hope you'd understand why I fight like this."